Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, our respected panelists and audience. Selamat siang, Bapak-Bapak dan Ibu-Ibu sekalian. It is my pleasure to welcome all of you to the Hunindo Tech 2.0 Business Forum, brought to you by the Embassy of Hungary in Indonesia and sponsored by the Ministry of Communication and Informatics of the Republic of Indonesia, Tungsram Group, Selum, Telkom Indonesia, Archai FM, and FestiPay. The digital landscape in Hungary and Indonesia have witnessed a boom in line with the global trends and is thus an immensely lucrative opportunities that countries must capitalize on. Both countries have a lot of potential to offer in infrastructure, financial technology, cybersecurity, and a lot of technological innovation, starting from startup and innovation management, transportation, and even medical technology fields. At the Hunindo Tech 2.0 Business Forum, stakeholders from both countries are here to share valuable knowledge and information, including their experience, and hopefully can form a strong partnership and collaboration in the long term. For future information regarding the potential partnership opportunity, kindly visit the official website for Hunindo Tech 2.0 Business Forum. Without further ado, let us begin with today's panel session. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Stella Now. I'm a public affairs practitioner, and I'll be delighted to be your moderator in today's session with a team in the challenge and future of the transportation industry panel session, which I believe will be very interesting because we have several excellent panelists that will share their expertise. We have Hunindo Control, which is a certified provider of air navigation service and specialist professional service. With its dedicated workforce, Hunindo Control delivers safe, efficient, and environmentally sustainable air navigation service to more than 1 million flights in Hungary. And on NATO assignment in the upper airspace of Kosovo, leveraging both a breadth and depth of experience, Hunindo Control also partners with service providers globally to solve their burning problems and achieve their strategic goals, providing customers with more than just a step change improvements, but clear pathway to translate the air traffic management innovation into valid outcomes. Representing Hunindo Control today is Mr. Akos Palencar. Akos has a background in foreign relations, international corporations, project management, and is currently a member of Hunindo Control's account management team. A long-time aviation enthusiast, he would like to contribute to the improvement of the global economy's backbone domain, which is air traffic management. We also have with us Perum LPPN PI, or we known as Airnav Indonesia, who provide air navigation service in our country. They also provide air traffic and air telecommunication service. Representing them today is Bapak Muhammad Katim. Welcome, Bapak Katim. Next up, we also have Azura Technologies, a company that delivers timely, clear, and accurate information with their smart video analytics and license plate recognition applications. Azura Technologies is driven by a single mission to create easy to integrate camera vendor independent license plate recognition and video analytics software, implementing AI for security, surveillance, parking, and traffic management system. Our speaker from Azura Technologies today is the CEO himself, Mate Keys-George. Mr. Mate Keys-George is always trying to recognize the future in the present with artificial intelligence tools to make everyday life easier each and every day. Also joining us today is Aviel Zalazon Proving Ground Ltd. Zalazon is a proving ground in Hungary with a dynamic platform, high-speed handling course, brake measurement track, motorway section, and smart city. From Zalazon, we have Mr. Robert CD, the head of sales in Zalazon. Robert has 20 years of management experience in automotive industry in several management positions. From the automotive manufacturing side, we have Schneider Electric that specialize in energy management and industrial automation, represented by Bapak Fadli Hamsani, Senior Manager of Digital Transformation. Pak Fadli has 12 years strong experience to lead and manage manufacturing goals of process engineering, maintenance, industrialization, and digitalization. In 2018, he led the digital transformation and smart factory program deployment in Schneider Electric Manufacturing in Batam, which went on to receive recognition as first National Lighthouse Industry 4.0 from the Ministry of Industry Indonesia and Global Lighthouse Advanced Manufacturing by World Economic Forum in 2019. We also have with us today Magyar Suzuki Corporation. In 1992, Magyar Suzuki reintroduced passenger car production in Hungary after 50 years of hiatus. The Esztergom plant is Suzuki Motor Corporation's only production base in Europe, performing the full process of production and assembly. The Esztergom-based plant currently manufactures two strategic top models, Vitara and SX4 S-Cross for the Hungarian, European, and global markets. In 2019, Magyar Suzuki sold 185,002 vehicles manufactured in Esztergom to 123 countries. Since April 1st, 2019, Magyar Suzuki has been the Suzuki's group European base of spare parts and accessories. The company is a key player on the Hungarian and regional motorcycle and outboards motor markets too. Representing Magyar Suzuki today is Susana Bonar-Konka, Head of Corporate Communication. Since end of 2019, Susana was appointed as responsible for the corporate communication activities of the Hungarian production unit, including corporate brand building and communication campaigns, reputation management, press relation, and CSR activities. Furthermore, she also acts as a spokesperson for the company. Susana has 12 years of external and internal communication experience in the public and private sector at multinational companies and agencies covering several sectors. Last but not the least, we also have the Citytrans Indonesia, part of the Bluebird Group. Speaking on behalf of Citytrans today is Bapak Andre Aristianto, the Group Director of the Citytrans Indonesia. So we should start the discussion probably from the hunger control, Mr. Akos, because we believe transportation become an integral part of the human activities throughout the world. So from your perspective, apart from the pandemic that hit the aviation industry pretty significant, we have to acknowledge that there has been a massive innovation in the aviation traffic management system. Can you please elaborate more on that, especially on what drives this kind of progress in the innovation on aviation traffic management system? The floor is yours, Mr. Akos.
Thank you very much. Well, it's very, very obvious that we had a very difficult year. And just to demonstrate that, when we look at the numbers compared to last year, we are expecting a 40–50% decrease in numbers. And that, of course, means fewer planes, but of course, fewer money for the actors in this industry. Because obviously, we all calculated with some different scenarios. But I think this is a good example of how difficult challenges can turn into good ones. And we at Hungaro Control try to bring innovation and try to see how innovation that would have been normally tested out in the future, how it can be tested in the present. And I think we had a very good example with this remote tower solution, where we separated the air traffic controllers into two shifts. One was working in the day shift in the old physical tower, and one was working in the new remote tower at night. And with that, we made possible that they were separated, of course, less chance for contagion. And we also tested this new technology. And by using this live, we have reached more than 2,500 live operations. But the big question is, as you asked, what drives innovation in the ATM sector? And I would say it's three things. One, it's safety, to make our industry even more safer, although our industry is I think, the safest modes of transportation that you can choose. Second is sustainability. We have to be very cost efficient. We have to make sure that the service we provide is sustainable in the future. And of course, to provide better service. When we see a new technology come into the industry, we have to test it and we have to bring it into our industry. And it takes longer than usual because we are very, very much focused on safety. Well, it's a long process, but I think it's very rewarding at the end. So I think these three are the most important pillars of how we approach innovation in ATM.
That's really interesting. The safety, the innovation, and also how it should be sustainable so that we can get the most benefit from the innovation from the traffic management system. But I would like to ask Bapak Katim also from the Airnav Indonesia. What's your perspective on this, Bapak? How our aviation industry has been reacted to this new challenge, especially after the pandemic? Maybe we have a recent innovation that you would like to share and probably collaborate with the hunger control in the future. Bapak Hatim.
Good afternoon, Stella, and all.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for the question, and Mr. Akos from Hungaro Control. In the pandemic is happened to all the country in the world. In Indonesia too, COVID changed many things in Indonesia, from the country policy, passenger behavior, and traffic trend. In Indonesia, traffic is lost the traffic until about 6% in May 2020. But now it's growing up until 40 and 50%. Is fluctuative, 40 until 50%. In the term traffic, it started in February, actually, when countries started when we have been flight from China mainland, and that we oversaw overflying and international traffic start decline. For domestic, it started to plummet when Indonesia government implement large-scale social restriction, PSBB in Indonesia, in the end of the April, to ensure operations still continue and stop COVID-19 virus transmission. On March, Airnav Indonesia published adapted working procedure, like a business continuous plan and service continue guidance, because this pandemic is can transmission anywhere. Airnav for business continuous plan consists of operational protocol for the controller and the employee, how we change the way we work from fixed grouping and then to serve continue plan, and how to manage lack of personnel if any person or group need to quarantine. Because if any transmission in one group, maybe we must tracing and all of the group will be quarantined. Personal care from policy of wearing mask and mandate to social distancing, of course. Workplace protection from routine disinfectant workplace and work desk to regulate entry the building. We have a type for the protocol, for health protocol. Foremost important thing on how we fight COVID-19, novel coronavirus, is to communicate with our team and employee to make them understand that we're going to get through this together, so that they understand that even if the policies or procedures or protocol are keep changing because of the new information, the intention is always for the good of employee and company. And government give the stimulus to the airliner, the airport, and the air traffic service provider too, like Airnav Indonesia. It is happen in Indonesia related with the pandemic coronavirus, novel coronavirus. That is Miss Stella. You still unmute? Mr. Stella, still mute.
I'm sorry, Bapak. But if we talk about the innovation in the aviation industry, what's your perspective on that, Bapak? The innovation that currently we have in Indonesia.
Maybe we have in this meeting, any Mr. Akos will be discussed for next after this webinar, I think, what happened in the hunger control, of course, and what need in Indonesia. Like this, we will discuss deeply, of course, with maybe Ms. Akos with communication with our team.
Sure, sure. So then we can learn more from Mr. Akos then about this innovation that has owned by the hunger control. Mr. Akos, how can this latest technology be implemented in a domain where safety is and always will be the top priority? Can you explain more on that? How are you going to implement this latest technology on the aviation system, the traffic management system?
Thank you. Well, as I mentioned before, there's rigorous testing involved. When you look into new technologies such as AI or virtual enhanced reality, you see these things happening all around the world. But the fundamental goal for any ANSP is to provide a good service with the safest level possible. And by bringing this innovation into the sector that we are in, I think there's one main goal to enable the controller to work more efficiently, control more, and do it in a scalable way. And I think one example of this will be, as we go into the future, is the multi-remote tower concept, which is still under development today. And in this way, you can organize multiple smaller remotely located airports into a system where one team of controllers can control it from one single center. And by that, you can enable a very cost efficient, but of course, high level service all around the country. And I believe in a country such as Indonesia, this will be one very useful thing to consider. Because all these small airports have to provide the highest service, but as we see that the flights have reduced, there might not be a need for one controller at each of these airports all the time. So bringing these kind of technologies, reshaping it according to our needs, I think that's what Hungaro Control is really good, because we have started this project back in 2015, so we have a 5-6 years experience with this. It's a slow process, but very, very rewarding, I believe.
That's really interesting. Bapak Katim, if we heard from Mr. Akos explaining on how effective if we implement the same method that the hunger control has for the past 5 years. What do you think is the challenge that our country have at the moment? The difficulty that we are facing today that need to be addressed in the aviation industry, especially on our traffic management system.
In hunger control, where Mr. Akos said, is a different thing with hunger control with Indonesia. Hunger control is quite different. One area control center, I think, any one terminal and 1 or 2 tower maybe. In Indonesia, we have 2 flight information region. We have 2 flight information region with 30 terminal control area and with 250 aerodrome control. Any aerodrome in Indonesia is 250 aerodrome by Airnav Indonesia, operated by Airnav Indonesia. Airnav established in 2013, just 8 years Airnav to manage the air traffic services. We had quite a lot of legacy ground-based navigation, all ground-based navigation aids. While global navigation strategic is no move to performance-based communication, navigation, and surveillance with the trajectory-based operation, of course. And our navigation plan, we have plan and navigation called as IMAN. It's called as IMAN, Indonesia Modernization Air Navigation System. Like in Europe and in Japan, CARAT, CESAR, NextGen in America, like that. Indonesia, we call it IMAN, Indonesia Modernization Air Navigation System. It's initiative to modernize national air navigation system that will implement a safe and secure, more secure, efficient, environmentally and friendly, and harmonized with Asia Pacific for that is our plan in the country and region. That Indonesia, we have many medium airport. The Hungaro use the remote control, I think. Yeah, practice for remote control. Indonesia, until right now, is we just with like before is conventional with controller in Indonesia. As that is Indonesia is different with the Hungaro. Maybe we can share. I hear that Hungaro have implementation for free route since 2015, but Indonesia is just in June 2020 we trial for free route partially. That's the thing. Thank you, Stella.
Sure, Bapak. That's the potential that we have been talking. I believe the Hungaro control can provide best practice that we can learn. Last questions to Mr. Akos. Just a brief perspective. Do you think this technology will be applied the same even after the pandemic? The innovation that you just mentioned about the remote control and everything, Mr. Akos?
Thank you for this last question. We really like to have these questions which considers the future, because I think the main question will be how aviation will look like after the pandemic. And we see various projections from both Eurocontrol and Kenzo. And I think even the best case scenario shows that by 2022, which is in 2 years, we will get back to roughly 80 to 90% if we have an effective vaccine. If that's not happening, we will only see global aviation come back fully only in 4 years. But there's no mistake, it will come back. But I think the global aviation will not be looking the same. We have to consider that with the boom of the drone industry, which is the unmanned aeronautical vehicles, ANSPs will have to use this technology to control not just regular airplanes with passengers and pilots in it, but we will have the responsibility to control an airspace which will be full of other users, such as drones. And I think Hungaro Control is also pushing the power of AI to have a new software solution, to have a new system, a new application to manage all this new challenge that will be coming with the introduction of drones into the industry. So I have very high hopes that we will reclaim the skies. And I think this technology will have to be absolutely necessary to manage this new situation that we are facing in 2 to 4 years.
That's really interesting. Thank you, Mr. Akos, for your explanation, and also Bapak Katim. But when we talk about aviation industry, I also want to take all of you, the audience, to talk about the AI, just what Mr. Akos mentioned before, because this kind of technology, the artificial intelligence, become more and more prominent in our world. And we have here the Azura technology, Mr. Mate. AI, if we put it on the same category with the smart city, I believe both of them could cooperate with each other. So, Mr. Mate, in implementing the AI to build the smart city, What does it mean to you? How exactly can you provide the unique smart city solution with the AI system that can contribute to the more efficient working environment?
Yes, it's a great question, and thank you for having me here. First of all, just to join somehow Mr. Akash's ideas and future imagination. As in Deerfield, I think we should talk about that in all of the fields in the near future, between 10 or 20 years, AI will significantly change the whole solution behind any market. So it won't just include in smart cities, in transportation or in aviation. It will include everywhere. AI will be the biggest part of our lives in the next 10 to 20 years. So when we say smart city, I think smart city is a buzzword now, and it's to say a little bit. Today it's now a little bit, I can say, old or unfashioned, because everybody using smart city. Why should a city be smart? I don't think the city should be smart. I think people should be smart, and the city should help to people be smart. But basically, AI will include in the city, from traffic, from parking, to even though where we gonna eat somewhere, how we gonna go from one distance to another. Meanwhile, AI will help us to manage the whole time which we are spending in that travel, giving us options. Because when we talk about, for example, camera solutions, which we are high profession in. Today, all of the big cities are fully managed by CCTV cameras, but we don't use these cameras as we can use with AI technology right now. So today we don't really use the existing CCTV cameras, existing security cameras, and its video stream. But now the technology, the AI solutions, especially we provide, can help to upgrade these cities with the existing infrastructure. Because we built infrastructure 10 years ago, 20 years ago, up to which city we are talking about. Let's say London or New York. It has millions of cameras put in on, but these cameras doesn't really connect it. And these streams, which they are provided, doesn't work with AI solutions right now. Like just very weak solutions today. So what we believe is that these existing infrastructures should be upgraded with AI solutions, for example, to provide parking occupancy in the cities. Where can I park? And it should be automatically on my phone, so I don't have to travel all around the city to find a parking space. It is a lot of CO2. You cannot imagine how much CO2 we provide because we are just searching for 20 to 25 minutes in a parking distance in a city. Also in the traffic and transportation, it will and it should be linked together. And I believe that this is happening now. And when it's going to link, as Akash mentioned, big data analysis on top of it with AI will manage and will help to automatize the transportation and to automatize the whole traffic in the city, connected to your device, which is mostly your phone will be, to provide all the solutions, buying parking tickets. This is actually what we provide in the United States, a frictionless parking system without gates, barriers, and nothing. You can go in and go out, and everything happens automatically with the recognition of your car, your license plate, your timing period, where you parked, how you parked, and you don't have to. You don't even have to buy a ticket. You don't even have to touch anything. And because of the pandemic, it is very important to have a solution globally where you don't have to push buttons. When I touch something which others touched also, let's say a ticketing machine, I can have viruses from there, bacteria, whatever. So I think the next few years will be about frictionless models in any way, not just in the parking or traffic industry. All of the industries will change to lose solutions where you have to be connected physically with things that other people connected physically, because we are afraid now to touch things where can be any kind of virus. You know, this is, and the good part of it is it's a bad situation what is happening now, I think. But the good part of it is that I think this will upgrade, and this will fasten the whole idea behind frictionless and behind smart city. So for your question, and my answer is for your question is how we can how AI will work is up to how we agree and how we allow us to think about that AI is something we shouldn't be afraid of. AI is something will help to automatize and to fasten our life and to make it easier. And if you don't afraid of it, because you know today AI is like a buzzword also about people will look at you and search for you with AI, and I don't know, maybe Arnold Schwarzenegger will arrive and say I'll be back, but it's not happening at all. The only thing will happen with AI is that if we use it correctly, we can save time, and the only thing we need is time in our life, because that's will run out. So anything else is not important, just time, because time this is what we will lose. So I hope AI will help us. AI will help us smart city, connected with transportation, connected with the people, connected with payment methods, connected with I can say any field of our lives.
I see. Mr. Madek, one more question. How long is the transition when you implement the kind of technology, for example, the license plate, the system that can capture the license plate and it can just come up on your phone? How long is the transition for the consumers to getting friendly with that kind of technology?
I think customers get friendly, which they know about. So basically, today, if you were asking about license plate recognition, which is not a fancy topic, license plate recognition is existing from 15 years from now. The how we recognize license plate is a differentiator, or how we recognize something in parking or traffic industry, because today the big companies, I don't want to say names, but big companies all around this industry are trying to sell their heavy solutions, heavy products, barriers, machines also on the airports, big ticketing machines, which you should use, whatever, and don't really give you solutions next to it. In our perspective, Asura Technologies would like to implement object detection with AI. We are not detecting license plates based on any hardware triggers. We just detect the video stream, and on this video stream, we detect objects, which are the cars or buses or trucks, and on that we detect license plates. But we are creating a solution around this, and the solution is, for example, in airport, and we are actually communicating with the Budapest airport. So maybe we will connect Akos later. To manage the parking distances, because when I travel from one distance to another, I stop in an airport with my car, and I actually forget where I did stop, because I'm in London for a week and my car is staying in the airport, so I will not remember which part I was parking, because I had a week in another city and I'm doing my stuff, and I will lose this information. With Asura, when you arrive, you can have an application to directly go into that region in the parking space where your car was stopped. How we can do that? Managing spaces, zones by cameras. So when your car goes into a zone, we detect your license plates and your car. When it goes out to the zone and goes into another zone, we will automatically change your distance in that zone. I don't know if you understand me. So you will have an information You can do your payment, and you can do everything automatically without touching anything. And you know where you have to go. It's also important in big plazas. It's very important in big parking spaces, and also important in the streets. So how people are okay with that? How will they implement this? I think they are waiting for this. They want to do this. They want to have easier life. We have to wait for generation change. Sorry to say that, and I'm not talking about people who are in another generation thinking in the same way. But I'm saying that companies who are managing transportation, traffic, and parking from the last 30 years, they are stuck. They're stuck in their heavy solutions, and they have to sell their heavy solutions to make profit out of it. So basically, I think the change are here. The change is happening, as Akash mentioned, with their solution, which are amazing to talk about. The virtualizing that knowledge, which was physical several years ago. That's what I believe. People will wait for it. People want to make their lives easier. We're kind of, to be honest, I believe governments and countries should have Ministry of AI. To be honest,
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Ministry of Smart City, Ministry of this knowledge. It should be more. It should have a more focus on governments than it is now.
Okay, thank you, Made, for the very well-rounded explanation. When we, as we heard Mate explaining about the smart city and how it will be very useful for us as a citizen, especially in urban cities, I want us to remember also about the other type of vehicles, which is the cars. People in Jakarta, mostly all of them use cars everywhere, and it causes very, very bad traffic. But the kind of discussion that we want to bring up today, it's about the hybrid car, like how the potential of hybrid car can give a layer of another perspective, a layer of another benefit to our society, especially in Jakarta as the most populous city in Indonesia. I want to ask Bapak Andre from City Trans. Pak Andre, do you see a progress on the way we introduce the hybrid car infrastructure, hybrid car concept in Indonesia? How do you see that? Is it increasingly good, or people just not ready yet? What do you think about it?
Okay, good day, and thank you for having me. I think as far as hybrid cars are concerned, it's relatively old technology by now. I think it's very common in other places in the world. But unfortunately, I think it hasn't really caught on in Indonesia, mostly because there are no incentives for customers or drivers to use hybrid cars in Indonesia. There are no tax incentives, and also the technology that is implanted in hybrid cars are quite complicated and also daunting for the average customer, because basically a hybrid car is a car that runs on two types of energy sources. Commonly, it would be fuel, as in gasoline or diesel, and also electricity. So basically, we're running two systems in one vehicle, which means that everything is there's two of everything basically. So there are more components. It's just relatively difficult to manage both energy sources so that they can run efficiently. And I think the main concern would be that just because there are two systems in one vehicle, then we're buying a lot more hardware as the customer. So the vehicle itself would be slightly more expensive. There are no tax incentives here in Indonesia for vehicles like that. And so there's just there's no reason for somebody to buy a hybrid car at this point in Indonesia.
Yeah. But from your perspective, Bapak, how is it possible if we, expect to maximize its potential? I mean, do you see that we can advocate so that, because hybrid car, from what I've done, the research that I've done, it also have the environment to be more friendly, to be more,
yes.
in terms of the damage that it can done to environment. It's getting lesser and lesser if we use the hybrid car. From your perspective, Bapak, I just want to know: is it possible to advocate and then push the government to give the right incentive on that?
Yeah. So as I said, for the customer or for a company, an operator like us, like Citytrans or like Bluebird, the inconvenient truth is that to go green, it has to also help us go green in the financial statements as well. And so this is something that we have to work on as to how we can bring in cheaper and greener technologies to Indonesia so that it will be more easily adapted to our needs here in Indonesia. Because I think as far as conservation is concerned, it's a growing concern here in Indonesia. I think people are more and more paying more attention to it and realizing that we have to do more for our planet. But at the end of the day, it's just not affordable enough yet at this point in Indonesia. I think the same would go for electric cars. I think the electric car is also another step forward after the hybrid car, which is something that we are already trying to implement in Indonesia. But again, without the tax incentives or government incentives, I think it would be difficult to bring in newer technology, because the electric car is essentially a newer technology than the hybrid car. And obviously newer technology in general will cost more as well. So this is something we have to work on, is because everybody, I think, is aware that something has to be done, but we can't really decide on how to do it efficiently and effectively.
I see. That's an interesting point. Thank you. Maybe we can hear from Susana from Magyar Suzuki, because we heard that Magyar Suzuki decided to produce the hybrid car factory in Hungary. Susana, can you tell us what was the real obstacle in your company? What was you encountered when you guys decided to build the hybrid car factory?
Good morning, good afternoon, thank you. Actually, I would say that here in Hungary and all over the world, the environmentally friendly and sustainable vehicle manufacturing efforts are not slowing down, but we think that electric cars are the future, but we believe that this future is a bit farther than we think, because there is still a long way to go before electric cars become more widespread. At present, the energy resources needed for mass production and for charging the e-cars are not available, neither in sufficient quantity nor in sufficient quality. And especially here in Europe, the manufacturers have started huge-scale development in order to comply with the multi-stage EU CO2 reduction regulations. And these developments are not driven from the demand side, actually, but from the regulatory side, and these innovative developments impose extraordinary costs on the automotive companies. And right now, the current solvent demand in the new car market, we are not able to keep up with the price. because the price of these new developments will be built into the new cars, and they will, of course, be more expensive, and many people cannot afford it if there is no state subsidy, for example. And therefore, Suzuki and Magyar Suzuki, we think that the near future lies in other alternative solutions which are implemented on a more human scale. And therefore, the Suzuki Motor Corporation focuses on the development of hybrid cars, because we would like to manufacture future generations of hybrid and environmentally conscious cars in the usual quality, cost effectively, and at a price affordable for a wider range of customers, because it's important to see that we are producing cars for many people, for a wider range of customers. And therefore, we took a significant step on this path, because in December 2019, we started the serial manufacture of the hybrid vehicles here in Hungary, in Esztergom. And from January 2020, we are making hybrid cars for the markets for the European Union and also for Hungary. And we also we think that we have a challenge and responsibility because we want to reach a wide range of people, and at the same time we would like to promote the sustainable mobility, and also we would like to educate them about this.
That's really good. But from your perspective, Susanna, how do you see the interest that coming from the Asian companies? Why are you going to say to the Asian companies so that they can, you know, invest in this kind of good innovation and the hybrid car manufacturings that provide the vehicles throughout Europe?
Yeah, actually, it's a good question, and I will step back a bit and talk about why Hungary provides excellent opportunities to Asian companies to invest here in Hungary. Last year, I have to say that almost 60% of the invested value received in Hungary came from the East, and also last year's 40% of the new jobs are also tied to Eastern companies. And many companies are present, not just Suzuki, for example, Bridgestone from Japan, or Samsung for South Korea, or Apollo Tires from India. I could just spell several companies, but in general, the conditions are really favorable here in Hungary. I would mention the political stability, the know-how, the diligence of the Hungarian people, the good infrastructure, but it's also really important that the corporate tax is the lowest in Hungary and in the EU, regardless of the size of the company, is 9%, which is also considered worldwide very low. And foreign and new investment receive significant state support thanks to Hungarian government and the EU funds as well. And also the orientation of the Hungarian economy shifted a bit, because previously almost exclusively production-oriented companies invested in the country, but nowadays companies using new technologies are launching investments. So the orientation of the Hungarian economy is turning more and more toward research and development. And when it comes to automotive industry, this sector is really advanced here in the country. This means that in I can say data from 2018, the automotive industry accounted 4.5% of the GDP and for 20% of the exports, and it represented 25 billion euro production value. And actually, the automotive industry has been changing significantly, and Hungary has a leading role as well in it. Last year, for example, the country received 8 investment in the production of electric batteries and the components. And this year, further ones chose Hungary, for example, South Korean Doosan or the Chinese Secor. And in addition, several companies are developing the electric motor-related production capacity as well in Hungary, for example. For example, Audi in Győr manufactures electric engines, or Samsung SDI in Göd batteries for electric and hybrid cars. And actually, that time after the Suzuki investment, because we came here in 1991, many other companies were coming to Hungary as well, and also the Hungarian companies were more interested in the Japanese market.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. That's really interesting. Since you mentioned about the automotive industry, I also want to ask Bapak Fadli from Schneider Electric. Pak Fadli, what's your perspective on this part? What kind of innovation, trend, and challenge do you think currently faced by the Indonesian automotive industry in general?
Right. Thank you very much to having me in this event. It's very nice to have this conversation with all the experts. And now as what we heard from all the panelists talk about the global trend in innovation using the key technology of digital AI and IoT and etc. Normally since 2018, when Indonesia start to launch what is the program that Jokowi mentioning about the Making Indonesia 4.0. I'm sure yesterday maybe our minister also talked about that. And all the industry, one of the from the five focus segment industry in Indonesia, one of that is the automotive. So when we see that most of the industry automotive in Indonesia, especially in manufacturing, they start to get on this step of entry level of changing their traditional industry manufacturing to go for the smart factory or for the future industry manufacturing. So what happening inside is I think this is the need also. Why? Because in this situation, especially after the pandemic, we can see that the efficiency, productivity, agility, sustainability is a need for all the typical industry, especially also in Indonesia. And, I think so all of us know also that automotive industry have a big impact after this situation of the pandemic. And now they try to reimagine again, sometimes the reshape again where they want to go for their industry. Is it they need to go by the remote system? They need to go to implement the IoT to get the data real time and etc. They can work from home and then take the decision using the AI, using the AR, using the VR. I can say to you that now is a several industry of automotive, because we are the technology partners of energy management and industrial automation. That one of our key customers is the automotive industry. So we can see that now the trend in industrial automotive in Indonesia, they start to implement what we are saying just now. So they start to implement the IoT, they start to implement the big data, start to go for analytics. I think it's good trend also for Mr. Mete. So now is the industry in manufacturing, they start to getting this AI, like what you said, we understand very well. In the next layer, we need to go to connect all the information, like what we call as a big data. And after that, what we're going to use with this data. So anyway, the AI will be one of the solution. So this is the trend. They want to go to protect their business, their assets, and also to see the end-to-end solution, of course, with the cybersecurity services, complied with all this situation. And also, they are start to trying to see the opportunity to boost the new mobility and digitize, and also remind the profitability while investing the new investing for the next phase after this pandemic. And of course, they're still seeing to optimize the production to meet the new demand. Let's say like what Pa Andre also mentioning, the car hybrid now is a cost is expensive and etc. Industry in the manufacturing, we have goals to optimize the cost by reducing the energy consumption use, and then using the industrial automation and all the digitalization tools to bring more added value to the customers. One point that I would like to say also for all the audience today is not on the level of the higher the automakers like Suzuki or others, but also we can see in the new tier 1 and tier 2, they start already to communicate with the automaker, because the automaker now is required in the horizontal integration of the value chains, how they can link each other to bring more value in terms of the uses of the technology. I think this is the real situation that what we are facing, and we as a Schneider, as a technology partner for them, that specialists in energy management and industrial automation, we showing the proven when we create our smart factory in Batam, that recognized by the Minister of Industry, that implements Industry 4.0 technology and etc. So we try to influence and also to help industry automotive in Indonesia to move forward to use this technology and digitalization.
That's nice, Bapak Fadli. Especially you mentioned about what you guys, you and your team have done in Batam, and the kind of appreciation that you and your team got from the government, also from the international organization. But if we measure the resistance to, if we want to create the right environment for the ranging innovation that you already mentioned, the resistance you see, what was the biggest resistance where was the biggest resistance coming from? Was it from the public sector? Was it the private sector, or the society themselves?
Yeah, thanks for this question. It is this very interesting point. The first of all, I would like to say that when we talk about the digital transformation, it's not only about the technology adoption, but it's more on the people and culture change, especially for us in Indonesia, that is in the factory we have a lot of operator and etc. And the topic that you highlighted, they worry about missing the job, they worry about the replacement of the job. This is the things that usually is coming on this kind of the topic of discussion. But we are always saying that this is the era, and we don't want to have the disruption. We need to be ready. We need to make the transformation is not only in technology point of view, but also in business as a driver, technology as an enabler, and the people as a sustainability point. So we do also upskilling, reskilling, and also the shifting of the people in the organization. So when you ask me about the challenge, for sure, the first challenge that we are facing when we see any industry, they want to change of their transformation or make the transformation, for sure is the first point is about the mindset of the people itself. So internal or external, it will be the same. So then that's why the change management portion is one of the key effort when we want to do the transformation in our industry point of view. So yeah, and now again, I can, if you want to go specifically on the automotive facility and manufacturing plant at this moment, now they want to go to end-to-end digital solution. So with this digital need, so we cannot say again now is nobody use the phone and everybody buy the food from their phone, and now this is the need. So so most of the time, people will start to understood that the technology bring the value for them, make their lives more easy. Like if I can copy paste what Mr. Mehta said that in the speech before, that how this technology can make our lives more easy, then involve them since beginning. And because of the factory now start to go for the smart manufacturing topic and smart facility topic, including the data center and etc. So this is the disruption, and we need to be prepared on that portion.
Thank you, Bapak Fadli, for the brief explanation on that. I have to see, do we have Mr. Robert CD here? If we haven't, had, yeah, I don't think Mr. Robert here. Okay, maybe we should open for the questions from the audience. So if there are any question from the audience that, probably, oh, okay, I got the information that there will be no question and answer. So let's see. Okay, so last questions to Mr. Mate from the Azura Technologies before we close the discussion. So from all the potentials that you've already heard from the panelists, Mr. Mate, how big a potential you see in Indonesia to implement the idea, the kind of smart city that you've already explained before?
Well, actually,
the potential in Indonesia, because
I love Indonesia.
Indonesia, right?
I love Indonesia, and I travel so much time there, and I hope COVID will end and I can visit you guys personally. Potential is everywhere. What I can see is, as Mr. Fadli said, and sorry to be very honest, but you're so right. And people are worried about losing their jobs because of AI and because of automatized manufacturers and automatized solutions. And we should face this, because this will change jobs, and this will change lives in the next 20 years. Indonesia is, for me, as I see Indonesia personally, I see Jakarta. Of course, everybody is in love with Bali, but for me, Indonesian people are very open-minded. This is my connection with you guys, and what I can see is you're using technology as you mentioned right now with your phone. There's Gojek everywhere. You can use it for anything. So basically, you're very open-minded for this technology change, and you're far. I can be very honest. You're sometimes far away from our United States experiences. They have 10 years left in smart, really. So what I believe is that with cooperation like companies here in this panel discussion, or who we are now already connected, we believe that Indonesia and all of the Asian market will and should implement smart solutions, because that's the only way you can manage that rising urbanization and centralized cities which are existing in Asia. There's no other way we can manage the cities. There's no other way we can manage these changes, just with technology and artificial intelligence. That's the only way we can do it. That's the only way we can handle it, with sensors, cameras, and the global solution. Without that, chaos will happen. So I think it's a biggest topic than we have now time for that. I hope and I believe we can travel as soon as COVID ends, and build together something smart and something very nice in Indonesia. You're in the right way.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mate, for the closing statement. I believe that's what we would like to believe also from the all panelists. And thank you for today's session from the Hunindo Control, Azura Technology, Magyar Suzuki Corporation, Zala Zone, Airnav Indonesia, City Trans, Schneider Electric. Hopefully from our fruitful discussion, we can find more and more information to collaborate between both stakeholders coming from Hungary and Indonesia. I'm Stella now. I'll see you again in another session. Thank you very much.
Right.
Thank you very much. See you again.
Thank you.
See you, Akos.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.